is crazy. Alright, so welcome to Fred's Full Throttle. If you don't know who I am, I'm Fred, as you could probably guess. I do car and motorcycle stuff. So today's video, I'm going to go take a quick little ride in the car, and then we're going to winterize the C7 Grand Sport. So let's get right into it. Oh, this car is so much fun. Oh, I miss this. So there are a couple schools of thought to winterizing a car. Certainly I suggest go and do your own homework, read from a bunch of different sources, check the internet, check the owner's manual, and figure out, ooh, Focus RS. Certainly I would say go and do some homework, look at a couple different sources, go on the internet, go and look in your owner's manual, go and look in some forums, figure out what people are doing, and feel out what sounds right to you as far as winterizing a car. My approach is do what the OEM says. The idea is that these are the people that designed the car. They are the engineers who put thousands of hours into engine testing, transmission testing, and so from my mindset, certainly there are thoughts of, put a bunch of stuff in the fuel and put the car on cardboard and, to keep the tires off the pavement and do all this other stuff to the car. You certainly can do that, and chances are these things are well enough made, you're not going to have a problem one way or the other. And so that unfortunately results in a little bit of confirmation bias. It means people do things the way they think is right, and then it turns out that since they didn't have a problem, they now swear by it. So that's my take on it. Certainly everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and I'm not saying that I'm right or this is the best. I'm just saying this is how I do it, and I don't think that Chevy as a company is going to suggest doing something to the car that in any way would generally cause harm or problems. Every single winter I've followed the same procedure. Every single winter it starts first try, it starts one or two cranks of the engine, and it starts. And so all 3 years since then the car has started right away. So for me, the things that really guide me on this, I do what the manual says. I did a bunch of homework to see what other people say, and I still think that the manual's right. And then I've had 3 years of no issues whatsoever, not a single problem with this car. And so I tend to just think, okay, I'm gonna follow those. So that's where I'm coming from. Oh yeah, I'm having a moment. This is a fantastic car. Hang on. Oh. I mean, had to get up to speed, right? You could feel that the tire is like skittering a little bit as it accelerated. I did go down in a second, and there's no traction there. All right, so I just got home, and let's winterize the car. All right, so while I was driving around, I was talking about winterizing the car, my approach to it, and we're back here in the garage, and so it's time to do that. My approach is really simple. I went to McMulkin, which is where I bought the car. It's in Nashua, New Hampshire. It's the second largest Corvette dealership in the country. They have hundreds and hundreds of Corvettes, and they know their cars pretty well, at least I think so. So I asked them back when I first got the car, I said, hey, this is going to be sitting for a while. What do you recommend for winterizing each season? And I was like, do you put any additives in the fuel? Do you do anything special? And they're like, make sure your tires are pumped up to the right pressure. Make sure that you put it on a charger. One thing you may not know about the C7 Corvette, any of the C7s, is that the battery is actually powering circuits in the car 24/7, whether or not you're using the car at all. So they recommend using the trickle charger that came with the car. It keeps the battery full throughout the winter. It's, I guess, a little bit better, and it extends the life of the battery. And that way also, with the car being on all the time, it doesn't drain and you have a dead battery early in the next season. And then I wash the car, keep it nice and clean so that there's nothing in the paint that can cause problems, and then put a cover over it. One other extra thing is that this is a heated garage. It doesn't actually have like baseboard heat, but up in the ceilings above here is all the other rooms in my house. And so the warmth of the house keeps this room probably, I would say, like 55 to 60 degrees all winter long. It's not heated per se, but it also doesn't get cold, never gets down to freezing. So I don't have to worry about that as much as if you had like an external storage area and you were keeping the cars there over the winter. So just something to keep in mind. All right, so we're gonna go put the charger on the car. I'm gonna open the back of the car. Go to this little bin in the back corner here. Ah, there we go. So I keep the charger with the car in case I ever got a dead battery while I'm out and about. This thing's fairly straightforward. One end in the outlet. I've got a zip tie here. You can tell I've done this before. I hook it on the side of my tractor so that it doesn't sit on the floor. If there was ever any moisture off another vehicle or anything, or snow that comes off and melts, I don't want this thing sitting on the floor and getting wet. And then right in here, by the little light here, you've got a little panel. You flip this up, plug it in, and the lights on here show you that it's charging. And then when you shut this, so this is a soft closed door, so I lower it down nice and slowly and just let it basically close on this a little bit. I made sure there's plenty of slack on the inside so that it's not tight, and that's all there is to it. So the car is charging now. I mentioned also that I washed the car, so the car is nice and clean. So I also made sure that the tires are up to pressure. That way that helps prevent any kind of flat spots on the bottom where it's sitting. My garage floor is painted, so it doesn't have raw concrete. You can see the paint's coming up a little bit, but it doesn't have raw concrete sitting against the tires. Depending on who you ask, raw concrete can actually break down rubber over time. The car is never going to be sitting for more than about 4 months. So it's not a real concern here, especially with the painted floors, but just something to keep in mind. Sometimes people will take cardboard or wood and they'll put that under the tires, and that'll prevent any damage if they do have an actual raw concrete floor. And so now I'm going to put the cover on it, and that's it. So that's all there is to it. The car's going to sit for maybe 5 months, so it's end of November now, so December, January, February, March, probably early April, so I'd say like 4.5 months, which is not a very long time. When I talked to Chevy and I talked to the service guys at McMulkin, they said that's all you need to do. There's nothing more specific. Fuel these days, especially if you're buying good, 93 octane or higher from a reputable brand, you're going to end up getting lots of detergents and kind of other things added into the fuel already right from the pump that prevent it from breaking down over short periods of time. If you're going to have the car sitting for, let's say, like a year, 18 months, 2 years, that kind of thing, or longer, certainly then you may want to do some different things. It may be worth talking to a dealership or somebody at GM to find out what they suggest. But for a short period of time, 4.5 months, the car doesn't need anything else done other than those 4 things. So clean the car, tires up to pressure, put it under a cover, and put it on a charger. Again, that's for if you're storing it inside a garage and it's not going to be freezing solid. So that's all there is to it. I'm really excited to take it out next year. I've got a pretty exciting year planned for the channel. I've got a lot of events that we're going to be putting the car in. I've got new camera gear, so like the new GoPro Heroes. And I'm excited to see what 2021 brings. Until next time, Fred out.